right, welcome to your yoga practice. It is Wednesday, December 3rd. Friendly reminder, if you have time to stay and practice some meditation today afterwards, it'll be a little bit different than our usual. It'll be basically a seated meditation for you, and then I will read or share a Dharma talk from one of my teachers so that we can learn a bit more about this month's topic of Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender, or kind of relaxing into the reality that life is bigger than us as individuals. All right, if you have a block or two blocks, or maybe a firm pillow available, you might want to get those things around you. And today we'll start with a little bit of a yin practice. And so yin is when we hold the stretches for longer periods of time. That allows us to work much, much deeper into the joints and connective tissue and affect greater change there. And so to begin with, we'll stretch the legs long and take a simple seated forward fold, letting the head fall forward. So the idea here is that we'll get a stretch through the whole back line of the body. And it just depends on our individual bodies, where we feel it the most. For some people, they'll feel a lot behind the legs. For some, it'll be a lot kind of along the spine or in different areas. For some of us, it'll feel lit up throughout. So here's where, if you want a little support, you could also stack blocks or grab a pillow. We want to get comfortable enough, and we'll be here for a little over 3 minutes. Letting yourself settle in. Good. Welcome, folks. All right, so settling in with a seated forward fold. And if you notice, or as you notice, areas where you're clenching or tensing, just invite a little softness there. So I just realized I was kind of hugging my thigh muscles to the bones, and once I noticed, I just tried to soften, and it might take a few breaths of softening. Start moving into the breath, letting each breath roll in slowly, pouring in and expanding you, literally connecting us to the outer world, to things beyond us with each in-breath. And then as we breathe out, we're giving back. You could be resting the mind on the breath, watching that flow. You could be noticing the sensations that you feel. Maybe watching how those subtly or maybe not so subtly change as you breathe. If the mind is feeling maybe a little bit more active right now, you could also count the breath, giving the mind just a little bit more to do. About 1 more minute. Breathing in your connection to the world around you. Breathing out, letting go of some control. Give yourself another slow and full breath here. Really take your time. And letting it go, we'll start to release this seated forward fold. If you have blocks or a firm pillow, you can bring that with you, and we'll come to lie on our backs for a moment. So I'm going to grab a pillow, but first we'll just lie back, so like a mini shavasana. Give yourself, we'll say about 5 full breaths here. Continuing to practice letting go, surrendering to the ground. All right, so now we will kind of flex the spine in the opposite direction. So you'll prop yourself up, and here's where we'll grab a prop of your choice. So it could be blocks, or pillow. If you don't have anything, also don't worry. You can recline on your back, maybe hug the shoulder blades together a little to puff up the chest. But the idea here is that we will take a supported back bend. Some of us might want to put something under the head. For some of us, it might feel okay to just let the head fall back. We don't need to go to any extremes here, especially because we will also hold this for about 3 minutes. Getting yourself comfortable enough, and then practicing stillness, practicing surrendering to whatever's here with you. As long as it's not sharp pain, we can rest and breathe with it. You might notice how this flexion of the spine is different than the forward fold. Let the breath be full and expansive. Noticing if the state of your mind feels different in this back bend versus in the forward fold. Working with similar areas of the body, but in opposite ways. Two or three more breaths here. All right, we can put our feet on the ground to help us roll to one side. removing any props that might have been beneath you. And then come back to your spine, just a few breaths. This time maybe you want to keep your feet on the ground, or you could again stretch your legs out long. All right, now let's slowly hug the knees in towards the chest. And then with the knees together, draw some circles. So this is really kind of circling the hips and low back on the ground. Take a sigh and switch directions of the legs. All right, feet on the ground. Let's roll onto our left sides. You can tuck the left arm under your head and stretch the right arm up overhead. And once you get there, go ahead and arc your spine up a little bit, like you're sticking your right rib cage up towards the sky. We'll just be here for a few breaths, really stretching out the right side body. Good, then roll onto your back, or you might want to press yourself up. We'll just switch sides. And again, we'll just be there for a few breaths. So now the right arm serves like a pillow, left arm up overhead, and then puff up the rib cage a little bit towards the sky. So you might be engaging your core. The right rib cage might be lifting off of the ground. Spreading the rib cage, the left side, open with every inhale. Give it another breath. All right, now let's prop ourselves up and come into tabletop. So orienting yourself facing the way you want to face on your yoga mat. Okay, and when you get to your tabletop, start taking some cow and cat. So we started with more yin, more slow practices, and now we'll start getting the body moving. So if you wanted to, you could also do cow and cat and then child's pose. Couple more rounds of breath. All right, coming through tabletop, let's engage the core and then walk the hands forward, pressing the chest down. So into puppy pose or Anahatasana. And for some of us, this might feel just a little funky in the shoulders, so you might bring the arms out wider or maybe even bend the elbows. As long as it doesn't hurt. One more breath. Imagine breathing first into your belly and low back, then the rib cage, and all the way up to the collarbones. And let the breath go. And when you're ready, bring the hands back under the shoulders. Look over your left shoulder, pulling the right hip back. So as we look over our left shoulder, we're getting longer on the right side. And then come through center and go the other way. Look over the right shoulder as you pull the left hip back. Excellent. Come to center, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Letting the head get heavy here. You might wobble it around a little. Pedal your feet, maybe even lift one hand and then the other, letting yourself settle into this shape. And when you're ready, the invitation is to settle in for about 3 breaths of somewhat stillness. Always do what's right for you here. All right, as you finish that 3rd breath, go ahead and step your feet up to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Keep in mind we can bring the feet close together, far apart, somewhere in between. And then try wrapping your arms around behind your legs, letting the head get really heavy. And again, about 3 breaths here. Can we relax the shoulders? And releasing the arms, bring your hands to the tops of your feet. As you inhale, push your feet into the ground, lift up halfway, sliding the hands up the legs, maybe up to the thighs. So kind of roll the shoulders back, hug the shoulder blades together. Go ahead and look ahead. And then you might look over your left shoulder and over the right shoulder. We were upside down for a while, so this is kind of letting the blood flow come out of our head a bit. All right, when you're ready, sink your hips down. We'll switch into a chair pose. Arms coming up, or you can always keep your hands at your heart if your shoulders don't like this. Breathing in Utkatasana. Engage your glutes. Imagine the thigh muscles hugging onto the bones. And then if you can, open your arms out wide. Take another inhale. And exhale, stand up tall. Take a breath here. Feet rooting down, heart and crown rising up. Next inhale, stretch to the sky, and exhale, swan dive all the way down. Hands touch the ground, step the right foot straight back. You might lower the knee or keep it lifted. See if you can stretch your arms up. And if you can reach your arms up, then we'll start to backstroke, sweeping one arm back and then the other. So this might bring the spine into a little bit of a twist, but we mostly want to try to just let the arms move in the shoulder sockets. And then you can switch directions, swimming forwards now. Both arms up like you're holding a big beach ball on a windy day. Reaching up and then leaning back. Lift the heart. One more big inhale. And exhale, hands come all the way down to the ground. Step yourself to plank pose. Knees up or knees down. We're pushing the ground away, engaging the core. Full breath in, I am strong. Full breath out, I'm connected to everything. One more inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down. Point the toes back. Stretch your arms back alongside you. Palms can face down. That'll bring a little external rotation into the shoulders. And then peel your heart off of the ground, rolling your shoulders back. Shoulder blades sliding down and towards each other. Maybe stretch the legs back so energetically that they start to lift. Shalabhasana, locust pose. Breathing here for about 3. And lower down. Hands alongside your chest. Tuck your toes, press yourself up and back. Downward facing dog. If you wanted to flow through chaturanga or take a break, take care of yourself. All right, from down dog, we'll shift forward into plank pose. Imagine the spine lifting up to the sky, core muscles really engaged, pushing the ground away. Draw the right knee up towards your chest, flex the right ankle, step that right foot up. Just see how far it can go. And then you might have to assist the right foot coming up towards the top of the mat. You could drop your left knee or keep it lifted. Let's see if we can reach our arms up. Breathing here in Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge, and then starting our backstroke motions, so sweeping the arms back. Even if you have limited mobility in the shoulders, let's admire the way that our arms can move. Shoulders and hips are pretty incredible joints. Go ahead and switch directions. The ball and socket shape, allowing us to reach all around. All right, as you're ready, try to reach both arms up. Again, imagining a big beach ball, so arms out kind of wide. Lift the heart up, lift the gaze, take any amount of a back bend. Stay for a breath. And hands come down to the ground, step the left foot up, forward fold. On an inhale, rise all the way up. Reaching up, maybe come up to your toes as you keep reaching up, reaching up. And then feet on the earth, hands come back behind your head. You could interlace your fingers, making a little basket. Let the head lean back. Engage your core, try to lengthen your low back. You might even squeeze your glutes to press your hips forward. Lift the heart up, pull the elbows back, getting a standing back bend here. Take another breath. And then bring the spine through neutral. Gently tuck your chin towards chest. Elbows could point forward as we start to roll the spine all the way down into a forward fold. Take your time. We're not putting much pressure on the head. Eventually release your hands down. Arms can dangle. Into forward fold. On an inhale, go ahead and lift up halfway. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Look ahead. Exhale, fold down. Hands to the ground. Left foot steps back. Set up for warrior two. Rising up, Virabhadrasana 2. We're bending into the right leg, looking over the right arm. Go ahead and flip the right palm to the sky, stretching the right arm up and back. Left arm could hook around behind you. Really pull the right arm up and back. Big stretch through the side body. Maybe you bend into that right leg a little more or a lot more. And then straighten the right leg. Reverse triangle. Bring your arms parallel to earth. Tuck the right hip under the left as you reach the right arm to the distance, and then Trikonasana. Left arm up to the sky, or I like to bring it alongside my head. Just get a little more stretch on that connective tissue. Take another breath here. And then runner's lunge, hands coming down to the ground. Step yourself into plank pose. Top of a push-up, I am strong. Breathing out, I am connected. Breathing in, I am here now. Breathing out, we let go. All the way down to the belly. Pointing the toes back, stretching the arms back. Inhale, lift up for 3 breaths in Shalabhasana locust pose. You can always lower down on the exhales. And we'll let go. Hands alongside the chest. Press yourself up to downward facing dog. Flow, find stillness, do what you need to do, a few breaths. One more breath or so. And then from down dog, let's shift forward into plank pose. Really push the ground away so the spine might look a little bit arched up towards the sky. Engage the core, step the left foot or hug the left knee up towards your chest. Flex that ankle, push the ground away, step the left foot up as high as you can get it. You might need to shimmy it a little bit farther up then. Bring the right heel to the ground and find warrior two. Arms outstretched, Virabhadrasana 2. And then flip the left palm towards the sky. Stretch the left arm up and back. The right arm might hook around behind your back. Breathing, reverse warrior. You might try sinking a little bit lower into the left leg, bending that knee, really stretching the left arm up and back. And then slowly push into the left foot to straighten the left leg. Viparita Trikonasana, reverse triangle. From here, bring the arms parallel to the earth. Hinge at the hips, reaching to the left, then lower the left hand down to the shin, right arm up to the sky, or alongside your head. Breathe in. And breathe out. Find runner's lunge facing forward. Step that right foot up, forward fold. Inhaling, rise all the way up. Reaching out and up. When you get there, maybe come up to the toes. And then heels on the earth, hands behind the head, standing back bend. And then come to neutral. Notice how the body feels. Getting a sense of if you can feel the energy flowing through the body. Our asana movements increase circulation, blood flow, lymphatic flow. You can soften the knees, take a little bounce out, maybe little twists side to side before we come down to practice our rest. Okay, as you're ready, you can bring yourself down to your Shavasana. And then option for folks who will stay for meditation, maybe you want to get really cozy and bring a blanket down with you and plan to stay reclined. If you feel like there's a chance of falling asleep, then don't do that, unless you've got time for it. I don't think we have any night shift people on this crew. All right, so once you get settled into your Shavasana, let the legs be stretched out or any way that works. Same with the arms, and just let things start to get heavy. So surrendering or softening. Ishvara Pranidhana is relinquishing control, surrender, and a deep, deep devotion to our inner being, to all that is. If you notice tension in the jaw, you can soften that. For folks who are ready to depart at the 30-minute mark, thank you so much for being here. Good job showing up for yourselves. For folks who have time to stay for a bit longer, This week we'll do it a little bit differently. So you are welcome to stay reclined and focus on your breath and listen to the words that I'll share. Or you could also move into a meditative seat. If you're going to sit in meditation, then you might want to use our mudra this month. It's Pranidhana mudra. So that is bringing the thumb tips, middle fingers, and ring fingers together. And then the index fingers and pinky fingers come together, and we can rest this gesture in our lap. So we can see there that everything is connected and united. And letting yourself breathe and just soften into being here now. So I'll be sharing the Dharma Talk transcript from one of my teachers, Susanna Barkataki. This is her talk on Ishvara Pranidhana. Yoga Sutras 2.45 Samadhi Siddhi Ishvara Pranidhanat. This sutra describes all of the boons that come from surrender, from turning our lives to devotion, to unity, to yoga, to that which is greater than us. It translates to relinquishing control. The illusion of control allows us to experience greater inner stillness, samadhi, great peace. And that brings greater insight and effectiveness to all of our actions. Susanna says, I often reflect on how the word surrender in the West means like, I surrender, I give up, I accept defeat. But here, in a yogic framework, to surrender is not to lose. To surrender is to win. What a real shift in perspective to think about those times where, we're trying to control, we're trying to make something happen. We're trying to do something a certain way, but really the situation, the relationship, maybe something with ourselves, what our bodies can and can't do, the process of aging, these inevitabilities like old age, sickness, ill health, loss, being separated from things and people and places that we love. All of these things are inevitable, and they are something that we share in common. We all have this very human experience of deep love, of deep loss. And we often engage in that illusion of trying to control or change how it is. But when I can surrender, when I can just let things be as they are, what I find is this experience of transcendence, of letting go, that allows me to not be present to the life or situations or relationships I thought I wanted, but to actually be present to the ones that are truly right here and now. And so I invite you to reflect, to think about, to explore how this theme of Ishvara Pranidhana shows up in your life daily from moment to moment to moment. Because sometimes I think with this particular niyama, we think it's this big glorious thing, and it absolutely is, but it can be the smaller things as well. If you give me a flower, a leaf, a cup of water, if it is given with devotion, I will accept it, Krishna says to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And to truly give with that level of devotion, anything is incredible. We can practice Ishvara Pranidhana in that way. And also it's like the monkey, that sticks its hand into the glass to get whatever it is, the sweets or candy at the bottom, but then the rim of the glass is too tight for it to pull its hand back out while it's closed around the candy, and yet the monkey won't let go. We can be like that monkey, right? Like so many times I have been that monkey. Maybe not you. We could have a sense of humor about this a little bit. Those things in our lives that we're like, I think about relationships or jobs or situations where I'm just hanging on. But really, it was a bit of a trap. It wasn't the right thing or place to be hanging on to. Just like that, let go. Let go. That is surrender. Sometimes circumstances or situations force us to let go. Sometimes we have no choice. Other times we can take that pause. And so right now we don't need to wait to practice Ishvara Pranidhana until we're on a mat or sitting on a cushion or at a temple in some beautiful place in nature. You can think of right now, is there something you're gripping onto, holding onto a little bit too tightly? Can you surrender? There's a story in the tradition that a pundit, which is like a Vedic priest or storyteller, teacher of the Dharma, was giving a talk one day. He was sitting under some trees. There was a thief in the neighborhood. He was coming around, really looking for where he could get his next haul. And this pundit was in the middle of telling a story and describing the little baby Krishna. He was describing all of the jewels in his ears, on his neck, around his wrist and his ankles, and how beloved he was, that all the good that he did to the community and for the community. But what the thief heard was all the jewelry. And he thought, where is this boy? I must find this boy and take his jewelry, and then all of my problems will be solved. I'll be wealthy. And so the talk went on. The pundit ended. The villagers went back to their homes. And the thief came up, grabbed the pundit and said, you must tell me, where is this boy? I must find him. I have to have what he has. The pundit's like, oh, no, you don't understand. This is a story. This is from a long time ago. I mean, yes, it's now, but it's a story. The thief said, no, I heard you describe the boy. How could you describe him in so much detail if he wasn't real? Tell me where he is. You have to tell me or I'll kill you. So the pundit finally was like, this guy, he's not going to leave me alone. So I'm going to tell him the name is Krishna and he's in the forest, that forest over there. The thief says, if I can't find him, I'll come back and kill you. So the pundit goes home. The thief goes into the woods calling, Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Looking all around for Krishna. And through the night, he steps on thorns. His foot starts bleeding, gets brushed by all these different thick wooded trees blocking his way, having all of these struggles. Eventually he gets so tired he lays down exhausted, but the only thought in his mind is the thought of Krishna. He awakes from unconsciousness and he's being cradled in the lap of a man. And in that lap he hears the tinkling. As the thief starts to come back to consciousness, it's the tinkling of gold bracelets and anklets as Krishna breathes and moves and tends to his wounds and puts a balm on his cuts, on his arms and his legs and feet. He's dazzled by the presence of Krishna. And Krishna, seeing that he's awake, begins to remove the jewelry one by one from his ears, from his wrist, from his ankles, and places them on the lap of the thief and says, you were calling me. You wanted these. Here they are. The thief, struck by the presence of the divine, of this deep service and care, says, oh no, I don't want those. I want you. I came for you. But Krishna just smiles, gives him the jewelry, and disappears into the forest. The thief, struck by the presence of the divine in this way, gathers up all of the jewelry, runs out of the forest back into the village, finds the pundit's house, and bangs on the door. The pundit's like, oh no, he found me. He's going to kill me. The thief bursts down the door, comes in and says, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. The pundit says, where did you get all these jewels? What child did you kill to get all these riches? He says, no, I saw Krishna. I met Krishna in the forest like you told me. The pundit is utterly confused now and overcome, realizing that there's something changed in this man before him, and realizing also that he's devoted his whole life to singing the praises of Krishna, telling the stories of Krishna, and to worship Krishna, but Krishna never appeared to him. Why did he appear to this thief? So the pundit rushes out into the forest himself, now looking, Krishna, where are you? through the night, through the day, finally realizes Krishna is not coming. Krishna is not coming. And he gives up. He also gives up purpose and hope, lies down, is willing to let himself just end there. And he is also falling asleep. And Krishna comes to him and says, "Do you know why I came to the thief but didn't come to you?" Because he was calling my name as if I was a real boy. He truly believed. You have all of these rituals, all these stories, all these practices, but they're just stories to you. You didn't truly believe. I will give you the boon of my presence, and in your lifetime you will experience connection with the divine, with me. But for now, go and continue to share the teachings, my teachings. Oh, so grateful the pundit was. He came back out calmly, slowly out of the forest, back to his home, where the thief, no longer a thief, still was. And together, there's many different versions of the story, but the one that I love the most is where together they worked in service. They worked to share the teachings and practices of the generosity of Krishna, of interbeing, interoneness, and to use that wealth he'd been given to make repair, make amends, and also to continue teachings of the Dharma. As my teacher Susanna says, I love this story for so many reasons, and one is because sometimes I'm a thief. Sometimes I'm the pundit who's not seeing. Sometimes there's parts of me, the wise parts, that are Krishna. And when we're able to see that we're holding on to these fixed ideas, at first it's like you think the part of yourself, or the thief in this case, it's wanting. Wanting is the bad one, the one that's not doing it right. But the thief truly believed. Misplaced belief, misunderstood belief, misdirected. But there was true faith there. And the pundit, with all of the great intentions and the right reasons, still didn't have that experience of complete surrender, of connection. And then Krishna gets to be this playful teacher. So for you, for me, where do we have misplaced belief? Where might you have misplaced belief? Where might you be holding on to something that actually isn't the divine, that isn't bringing you joy, peace, happiness? Or maybe you following the role practice, or the practice is in a rut, or you're just doing certain things because you think you should, or that's what is done. Where actually that's what's needed is surrender and faith, maybe even play. Ishvara Pranidhana calls up sovereignty within oneself, the deep devotion to yourself, to your realization, which is connection with everything else. The sovereignty comes also from deep practice and critical thinking. There's a power that in yoga can arise, a practice that no one can really give to you, no one can take away. It exudes through many of the yamas and niyamas. It's that inner power, that even to that inner power we cannot stay attached. We have to let go. It's a dance, like a playful knowledge and self-knowledge dance. In a way, it's an ultimate call to faith and to trust. Ishvara Pranidhana is also about service and the call to serve. Can you imagine what the world would be like if we were all serving each other? Acting as if there's no separation between you and others, you and the earth, you and the animals. These are all ways to practice devotion to something other than the egoic self. Devotion to interconnectedness. Thank you for sharing in this practice, this meditative storytelling. If you'd like to close with a chant of Om, you could bring your hands together at your heart, sitting tall, big breath in. Om. Deep bow of gratitude. Thank you for sharing your time. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here.